So, we don't have F-15s and nuclear bombs. So, apparently there isn't any way that we could overthrow the government, according to Joe Biden. But they need to take your weapons away anyway because of white supremacists and militia groups that are the imminent threat that faces America. They don't want to talk about the fact that the cities that have the strictest gun laws also have the highest crime rates and murder rates. If you took those cities out of the United States statistics, this would be one of the safest places in the entire world to live. Because of the fact that we are armed. Like where I live, almost everybody has guns. If somebody's going to break into a house, they think twice because they may get shot. Anybody who wants to weaken you should not be trusted. And this regime that is controlling and manipulating our country currently obviously wants us all weakened. They want to divide all of us on any basis that they possibly can, be it gender or race or ideology, religion, whatever it is. They don't want us all to get along and realize that they are the problem, not the solution. They create problems and then try to solve them, creating more problems, stealing our wealth. It's deplorable, it's despicable, it's all of these things, and it's exhausting, all in all. Like, aren't you exhausted with just the blatant lies that are being told and all of the deception that is going on? And how, Solzhenitsyn, they knew, or we know they're lying. They know that we know they're lying. They know that we know that they know we're lying, and yet they keep on lying. How many things have to be lied about and later come on to be true and then swept under the rug and like, yeah, that was years ago. People don't necessarily have the longest memory, but the internet does and the collective does. And we do not forget. On an individual level, yeah, absolutely. But there are people who are committed to reminding. To remind people. Any historian knows that before any type of genocide, any type of oppression takes place, you disarm. The Jews were disarmed before the Holocaust, were they not? Not to mention Mussolini and Mao and all of these other individuals who wanted to disarm the population in order to control the population. As of right now, the United States population, the civilians, are the largest armed force in the world. There are more guns in this country than there are people. So obviously, if it was a huge issue, people having guns leads to violence. Don't you think there would be a lot more violence? The only thing that stops bad people with guns are good people with guns. They're coming out with a documentary now. I just saw an ad for it on YouTube. You got Bill Clinton talking about how blah, blah, blah. It's like, so you get a rapist pedophile to condemn and talk to all of us about how guns are bad and why we shouldn't own them. And then Joe Biden's talking about how the Second Amendment was never designed for any type of weapon, just particular ones, and that you weren't allowed to own cannons, and which you were able to do. You were able to own battleships as a private individual. You were able to set up garrisons on your property however you feel inclined. So you have BlackRock buying up all the properties. You have a lot of people getting foreclosed on. There's a lot of articles telling people not to buy houses, not to do any of this. Just hold on to your fiat currency that is rapidly depreciating due to massive inflation. Everybody wants to talk about the gold standard the gold not increasing, so it's not true inflation and blah blah blah. But the buying power, I guess we should call it what it is. It might not be inflation, but it's definitely depreciation. And people are only going to be able to handle so much. I'm surprised at how much people have been handling so far. And everyone just carries on. Life is normal. Like, while everything is being ripped away. It's got me thinking about getting into politics. Holy hell. That's the last thing I want to do, is get involved in that quagmire of villainy and deception. But it's what needs to happen. Apparently, good people need to actually pursue power. Because if you do not pursue power, you have no ability to affect change. You become miserable. And now they want to take what little power we do have. You know, it's totally fine that there's criminals running almost every facet of our government. There's criminals running almost every facet of our day-to-day lives. And that's totally fine. That's an acceptable thing. I don't know. We reach a point of fuck it. At what point? What? The majority of politicians are over the age of 60. They've been in office for ridiculous amounts of time. The same people now who are saying they're going to solve our problems are the same people who passed the legislation to create the problems in the first place. Now, I don't need to go all conspiracy on everybody or whatever else, but it definitely does seem just a little bit, it seems a lot like this is all just one big plan. Is that not? No. Doesn't seem like there's, a shady couple of people pulling strings and manipulating the masses, and, doesn't seem like the media is just one big propaganda machine culminating in the degradation of the American way of life and the American people in general. And this is happening all over the world. Let's not just make it about us. But America is supposed to be a bastion of freedom, of liberty, of hope. And it is now basically, and has been for quite some time, just a war machine that overthrows other nations and subterfuges them. You got the CIA playing with all these different elections, doing all of these illegal things. You have private corporations that are able to hire mercenaries and death squads to go into other countries, and that's fine. Everybody can get all uppity about what gender you call somebody or dead naming. You can get banned for having blackface, but you don't get banned for going to a pedophile island. You don't get in trouble for that. Actually, if you're, you can be Bill Clinton and still make videos about why we shouldn't own guns, even though you've been to said island over 20 some times. Why can't we start canceling people for, affiliation with serial pedophiles and human traffickers, but we can cancel people for blackface they did 25 years ago, or they said something inappropriate on Twitter? Nah, they gotta go. But you can have people come against you on rape charges, and then they end up dead somehow, and then you can go right back to making movies. That's fine. That's cool. You can go make your movies. We don't have to worry about any of that. Like, it's a joke for people. Oh, he got suicided. Yup, they might suicide you. It's a joke. It's laughable. It's deplorable. Things have to change. What are we going to tell our grandchildren? That we're going to tell them we were cowards. We're going to tell them that, oh, they just had too much. We didn't even try. We just rolled over and took it. Yeah. The American people as a whole are not the danger to the American way of life. They're not a danger to their fellow citizens. Some are, absolutely. But the real danger is the people at the top. And I think that we all know that, at least for the most part. Yeah, you hear that? The roads, wonderful Pennsylvania roads. The gas companies paid for all of them to be fixed, actually. But none of that money came to fix any of this. No, it went to police and teachers' pensions down in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. You know, the ones that got ransacked. Yeah, but we're still footing the bill for that. The average American right now is born with like $240-some thousand worth of tax debt. They owe that too, you know. You divide it all up, $240-some thousand per person has to, you know, share the load. I went off on some tangents and stuff like that, but obviously shall not be infringed, right? The right to bear arms shall not be infringed. It doesn't get much simpler than that. They said it outright. We have more in common with each other than those that want us to fight.